Black men will listen to white men lie to them about women all day long. Black men have been buying into what white men have been selling us about our own people for 400 years.
We appreciate you talking for us, public.
Y'all will listen to anybody that says the thing that you agree with, the thing that already is teaching. The person that is reinforcing the thing that you agree with, y'all will buy into that shit. That's what I'm saying.
Earlier you said
So,
most men don't even.
So you're suggesting the same way that women will buy into anyone that says what they want to hear? Yes, because that happens.
Be specific.
Yes.
Give me an example of that.
Did you not say most men don't
I'm
get
sorry,
married though?
Derek Jackson. Everything
Was Derek Jackson wrong?
everything he said. He had a massive female following, and why? He said everything they wanted to hear, and even when they found out,
Real quick. Moni dropped. She paid the drop. Dirty Ride. Now we appreciate that, y'all.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Motivational. Derek Jackson was right about most of the stuff
He was.
saying. Hey, I ain't a Derek Jackson fan at all. I listened to some of that stuff. He was right about most of the stuff he was saying. He was right about it. And that's why but a lot of women didn't even like him though. A lot of I know this sounds crazy to y'all. A lot of women didn't even like Derek Jackson.
That's true.
They didn't even like him. But a lot of the stuff he was saying was actually correct. It was
If a lot of women didn't like him, why did it take 5 times for him to get canceled to actually not get back up to where he was at? And then his wife got on the same track.
When did he get canceled?
Bro, he literally got canceled like damn near 5 times in a row doing the same shit. Preaching to black women. Bro, he was preaching to black women specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, men bad, women this, that, and the third, putting them on a pedestal. All right, cool, whatever.
Nope. Say what he used to say.
Yes, say what he actually said.
Bro, the thing is,
hold on, King Love. Hold on, King Love. When you guys try to have these arguments, especially with a person like me, you will definitely have to bring receipts. You can't say, he said men back. You can't do that because that's not what he was saying. Be specific. Right. What was he saying? What was he saying?
Bro.
What was he saying that was an actual lie?
Like I was saying, no, I'm not saying he wasn't. He was lying to these women.
Then what are you saying?
So what's the point?
What's the point?
The point is, right? He's preaching this message out. Was
the message a lie or true, King Lo? Was the message a lie or true,
bro?
King Lo?
He's not
was the message
following.
Hold on, bro. Here's
where doing his wife dirty,
King
bro.
Lo. All right, bro. You about to get dropped. King Lo, I want you to answer this question specifically. You don't care about that man's wife. You don't care about the girl you with. You won't even marry her. What I'm asking you is
it took you 5 years to marry though.
Hold on. King Lo, what I'm asking you is this, brother. If Derek Jackson was lying about the things he was saying or not, that's all I want to know. Was Derek Jackson lying about the things he was saying or not?
He was lying about some of it, but he wasn't lying
about
it. What
was he lying about? What was he lying about? Say the thing he was lying about.
Anyways, so I just want to know.
Nah, bro.
Nah.
It don't work like that.
Exactly.
Bro,
bro.
I just want to know.
Nah.
Anyways.
Nah, it don't work like that.
Anyways. Like we said. Anyways.
We
moving on. Quessy, go ahead, brother. Anyways. Good. That was perfect timing for anyways.
I actually just had a question. I had a couple questions, actually, if you would allow me to ask them.
Please.
Ooh. First question is, and there's no undertone behind this, is a general question. Where is your idea of how men behave coming from?
From the stats. Amongst other things, but from the actual numbers.
Oh, what specific stats are you referring to right now?
Most men aren't married.
Okay. And where? No. So I let me rephrase that question. Like you're because I've scrolled past or seen a couple of your lives, and some of them I'll scroll past, some of them I'll watch, some of them are more entertaining than others. And it seems that there is a niche that you have. So I respect that because you have to do your job, you have to do your thing, you have to do what works, and there's definitely this niche that you have with, I don't want to use the word attack.
And stop using all this coded language and just say what you mean, brother. I don't need it. Honestly, I don't need a dissertation. You don't need to talk about my content.
He said most men don't get married, but
Yo, Loaf,
So
cut
what
it
I
out, bro.
so
The lawyers
I'm just
need the
Quessy.
money, bro.
I really want you to ask the question. King Lo, please be quiet. Sir.
yeah, so
Go ahead.
so what I'm saying is overall, it seems like you tend to. I don't want to use the word attack. That's not the right word, but for lack of a better word, overall, you seem to attack men, and I'm just curious where this idea of men in general is coming from.
From the numbers. Once again, from the actual from history, from our reality. That's where it's coming from. The same thing that made me say this, that I could prove it on paper that most men are marriage minded, and I guess to some extent at least, because most men ain't married. I could prove that like men are violent. Men are the most violent. Men manipulate the most. Men lie the most. Men hurt the most. Men harm the most. Men are the reason why they get divorced the most. They're the reason why they break up the most. They neglect the children. Like all of this stuff is documented. So I don't know where are you getting the pushback from? Is my question.
Because this is stuff that I try. Because like I said, a lot of your standpoints you can't argue with them. It's not like you're saying something wrong. It seems to me that, like you said, you see a lot of this stuff from the media. A lot of stuff is from the media, and the media is very cherry picked a lot of times. So what you're saying,
Quessy, I literally, where did you get that? What? I just said the opposite. I said the numbers show it. I didn't say the media. It's not my perception. It's the reality.
I was talking about previously when someone asked you a very similar question, and you said, where are you seeing this stuff? And you say the media. It's all over the media.
No, I was asking him, where is he seeing men? Where is he seeing this idea that men are like marriage minded, like where men are pushing marriage? That's what I was asking. Because you would only see that in the media or interpersonally or the media. There would be no number. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean?
Right. So specifically speaking, that conversation when you were saying it's all over the media that men aren't marriage minded, then you specifically brought up music, and then he brought up something about television, like it combats what you were saying, that the music does in fact promote a whole bunch of other stuff that is opposed to marriage. But then he brought up that the TV shows didn't necessarily do that, especially in the early 90s to the 2000s. They didn't do that. And you kind of try to take it away from that and bring it back to but the music is doing it. So I'll
be clear. What I was saying was that to me, the TV shows don't have the same impact as the music did. If I just didn't get to that point. I was saying like the thing that's the thing that we don't have a culture of the Cosby Show. You see what I'm saying? There's not a whole culture based around Family Matters. You see what I'm saying?
There's a whole generation.
There's not a culture based around King Lo. Please, you're not. This is way over your head. There's not a culture based around Leave It to Beaver. There's not these are not, you see what I'm saying? Like though they're on the TV show, but hip hop music. This is the thing that I think is a bigger motivator, and is the thing that is closer to home. It's because it's 19-year-old people talking to 19-year-old people, whereas the Cosbys, Bill Cosby was 40-something years old, and yeah, we saw Bill Cosby and Claire Huxley. We saw Claire and Bill married, but they weren't us. They weren't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like our contemporaries talking about marriage. That's what you know what I'm saying? Like, so you can let me know in all honesty, what do you think who is more influential to 19, if you're a 19-year-old, who is more influential to you, a 19-year-old or Bill Cosby?
Oh, 100%. You're absolutely right. A 19-year-old is going to be magnitudes more influential than Bill Cosby.
That's what I was talking about. So I'm sorry I didn't articulate that. You're right. So I want to be specific. I mean, I want to be clear. That's why I was like, yeah, the TV it's not on the same level, but yeah, there were the TV show married people, the movie show married people, body, no doubt about it. That to me though, it didn't have the same impact. It just doesn't, you know what I mean? It don't feel the same.
That's where I had the pushback at, and that's why I wanted to come up and talk about that specifically. I wish I came up earlier because that conversation is past, but I guess we can revisit it. But that's where I had the pushback at. It kind of seemed like you were comparing the influence when they're virtually on the same level, and it kind of seems. And I don't want to put words in your mouth to say what you're doing, but from my perspective, it seems like that was your experience, that music was more influential to you, and your project. And again, I don't want to use these words that I'm using seem really aggressive, but I don't want you to take it the wrong way. It seems like you're projecting how you digest
how I took it. Okay, cool. So I got a question for you. If Bill Cosby, it was actually more influential than Tupac, and explain gang culture, violence, men not being married, men being promiscuous, things of that.
Gang culture was there before Tupac.
I know, but he perpetuated it. And gang. I just named a rapper. You want me to name another rapper, King Loaf? NWA. I can keep going. I can name a bunch of rappers that perpetuated gang culture, right? So what I'm trying to figure out is if Bill Cosby and Family Matters and the show Rock and Leave It to Beaver and Lucy and all that stuff, I Love Lucy and all that, if these things were so impactful, and this is just what I saw, this is just my influence. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, if these shows were more influential than the music and the culture of hip hop, then why doesn't it show up in our society in that way?
But I think it does, because you also did mention something about how men are the most violent, which in comparison to women, 100% they are. 100% they are. But when you take the statistics as far as and I looked this up, I think it was from 2019 to 2014, the amount of men that went to prison for violent crimes was about, what was it, like, I don't know, like 900,000 or something like that. Like 900,000 men. Like some crazy number. And in comparison to women, it was just a landslide. But when you take that number of 900,000 men, and this is where I say a lot of this information is cherry picked and it's kind of like skewed. Because when you take that number of 900,000 men in America alone, it seems like a crazy big number. But when you compare that to the amount of men that actually live in America, which is like something billion, that is 0.01% of the population. No, billion.
There ain't no. There's 370 million. There's 370.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. A million. I didn't mean to say billion.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. There's only 375 million people in America. So and we're about 50% of the population. So about 180. And you can't say men, but because that includes kids too. But go ahead. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. So when you take the
but I think, Quessy, what you're doing is, though, the conversation is already off. It's not cherry pick. You're cherry picking, because what you're doing is you're basing it on people who were convicted of crimes. People who do most crimes get solved?
Absolutely not.
Do most crimes get reported?
Can't really speak on that. I would assume.
No, they don't. Easy. They don't. Most crimes don't get reported. So most crimes don't get reported. Most crimes don't get solved. Only 2% of crimes get reported worldwide. So therefore, having this discussion based on the 900,000 that got arrested or whatever the case may be, that is literally the definition of cherry picking.
Now, even if you
represent the majority,
and I can grant you that, but even if you 10 times that number, mm-hmm. it's still less than 30% of the male population.
But it's more than 10 times, though. That's what I'm saying.
Where's that statistic?
Only 2%. There, you can go look it up. Where is it at? Go look it up. Go look up the percentage of crime. And I did it globally or in America, and I don't know exactly what it is in America, but like when you talk about like smurders, only 40% of smurders get solved. Like 20% of grapes get solved. Like the numbers are so low, bro. Like crimes don't get solved. They just don't get solved. That's just the reality, right? The vast majority of crimes don't get solved. That's one part of it. Then you got to go to the amount of crimes that get reported. And when you say crimes, battery, how many times are how often did you call the police when your mama and your daddy abused you, whooped you? I never did. How often do people call the police when their spouse abuses them? Not often. How many times do people call people? I just had my wallet stolen out my car. I didn't call the police. Petty theft happens all day long. How many times do they call the police how many times do stores call the police when merchandise gets stolen? Almost never. You see what I'm saying? The vast majority of crimes don't even get reported. The vast majority of crimes don't get reported, right?
And genuine question, how would you, and this is a genuine question, who has the statistics on crimes that were never reported? How do you even get that number?
They estimate. That's how they do it. They have a system for it. They have a formula for it. You can go look it up or whatever, but they have a formula for it. How they figure it out. How they figure it out. I don't know if they do it by like the population plus the amount of crimes in that are being reported or something like that. But they basically like extrapolate it, and then that's how they figure it out. So yeah, there's a formula. They're not guessing. There's they have analytics that's what analytics do. They could play it out, right? So yeah. Oh,
so if we take,
they said they do surveys too. Yeah, that's another. I forgot about that. Yeah, they do that too. But they ask people like, "Have you ever been assaulted?" And then everybody, yeah, 90% of people like, "Yeah, I've been assaulted before." You know what I'm saying? And they go, "Well, shit. If 90% of people been assaulted, and we only and only 10, you know what I mean? Only 10% of people have reported it. Then they do the numbers based on that. That's how it works."
Okay, so if we take the actual numbers that I just said, that, and you can look this up. I'm not just making this number up to make it sound like dumb low. This is the actual number of crime of men that went to prison for violent crimes between 2019 to right now, which is 900,000, which is 0.01% of the male population. Again, 0.01%. How much more would we have to increase that number to make it accurate? Again, the starting point is 0.01%. How much more, to be realistic, would that number increase to account for all of the violent men in comparison to the population of men?
Let me ask you a question. I don't know. I think most men are violent, but let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah, plenty.
Me too. Motivational. Have you ever been in a fight? You were in the military. You've been in a fight. Low key. Have you ever been in a fight? Jay, have you ever been in a fight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we've all been in plenty of fights. All of us. Plenty. I've been in a ton of fights myself. So we've all been in tons of fights. Did you report any of them?
Look, somebody used a sharp object, and I still got the scar on my leg.
Oh yeah, I've been pew that. I didn't see the homie get. I got stories for days.
No, so now I'm not debating.
I still got a burn mark on my hand.
But
no,
I think the point you're trying to make is the majority of men aren't violent, but we know that that's not true. The majority of men are actually indeed violent.
No, so humanity is violent. Period.
No, humanity isn't that violent. Men are that violent. Don't do that. If 98% of violent crimes are committed by men, you don't get to say humanity is violent. That's not what you don't get to say that. See what I'm saying? You can't do that.
I see where you're trying to go with it, but I just can't agree with. I would say that men. I can grant that men are significantly more violent than women. Significantly, by far, innately.
Like almost like to where men are responsible for all the violence. Like that's how men are so violent that men are responsible for almost all the violence in the world. That's what I'm saying. So it's not a two-way street. It's not humanity. It's men specifically.
And that's where I have to push back at. Why would it not be a two-way street if we're still sticking to that mindset of most of it is not being reported? And again, I don't want to take it anywhere near the argument that women are just as violent as men. No person in their right mind can make that argument. And I guess some out of their mind men will make that argument. But
let me ask you a question. Wait, not you. Let me do this poll real quick. Are women perfect? A, 29.1% said no. B, compared to men, 29.1% said yes, and no such thing as perfect for. So yeah, nobody thinks women are perfect. But Kwesi, so the thing that I'm saying is that if based on the crimes that are reported, right, 98% of them are committed by men globally. Then wouldn't that's that's crime. Can we go further? Can we talk about wars?
What do you mean?
Every war started by a man. Every single war. Every war started by. I'm talking about right now. Every war started by every single one. It was started by a man.
Yeah, 100%. Men have been violent since the beginning of
the majority of men fight in these wars. And this isn't illegal, this is legal, right? So that's what I'm saying. So when you add up all the violence in the world, where are women to be found? Where do you even see them at? Where do they even show up at?
Well, I would say in their push to be a part of these wars.
You mean because capitalism has starved out people to the point to where even women are willing to go fight in a war? Because that's all that's happening.
I wouldn't say all. It's definitely a part of it. It's definitely a an ingredient in the soup.
Who's the majority of the people in the military, brother?
One more time.
Where do the majority of the people in the military come from? And socioeconomically speaking, where do they come from?
I wouldn't be able to answer that. You can tell me.
They're poor.
Okay, so you're saying that the military for women is strictly a way to get money.
For most people, yeah. For most people, absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
You think that's crazy? Of course it is.
I would have to. That's just not the stories I hear, especially because I have family that's in the military. That's just not what I hear when they tell me or they speak on why they joined the military. And I guess they could be lying. Let me ask you a
question. Per capita, who is the largest demographic of people in the military?
Or you mean like women to men?
No. I mean, I'm sorry. Racially, who's the largest demographic of people in the military?
Oh, I don't know. I would assume. I don't know. I would assume white men.
Black people, black men.
Oh, really?
Yeah, per capita is black men. Yeah, I think like 30-something% of the military is black, but we only make up 15% of the population. So we're overrepresented in the military. Just same thing with the prison industrial complex. We're the majority of the prison. I mean, we I think we're like 45% or 40-something% of the prison industrial complex, but we only make up 15% of the population, right? Or maybe it might be 30-something%. I can't remember exact numbers, but it's basically double what who we are, right? I mean, our numbers in society, right? So yeah, so per capita, there are more. You will find more. There are more black people in the military per capita than white people, than any other demographic of people in this country. With that said, do you think black people are signing up for the military to fight for this country? You think that is that what you get from that number? Are you going, oh, they just want to go fight for land and country?
No, I mean once you lay out those statistics and put it in that way, I kind of see where you would get that perspective from. Again, like I said, I could just be being lied to. When I hear the stories of why, and don't get me wrong, I'm fully accepting the argument that it's a financial reason. Because even I myself, when I was broke, I considered going to the military.
Me too. Hey, going to the military for black men is like thinking about stripping. It's the same. I think
it's the same playing field.
I think every broke girl done thought about stripping or selling her body as something. I won't say every, but I'm just saying. I think a lot of poor people, when they get poor, they think about selling their body. That's all I'm saying. That's something we all think about. I thought about the military for 15 minutes too. I didn't see any way out. Right?
Yeah, sure.
That's all I'm saying. So no. So yeah, I don't. The vast majority of the violence is perpetuated by men. There's no way around it. Whether it's reported, not reported, it's sanctioned, non-sanctioned, it doesn't matter. The vast majority of the violence is perpetuated by men, and I'm trying to figure out, where do you see women even showing up in that? I didn't even really want to bring women into this, because it's really no need to, because like I said, in comparison, it's a landslide. They're by far not as violent as men. The point that I was trying to make is that I don't believe that the majority of the world's men are the violent ones. I believe that the violent men that do exist are kind of put on they're kind of put on, I don't want to say put on a pedestal, because that's not necessarily what's going on, but they are highlighted a lot more, because no one pays attention to the men that are in the tech or that are in. The thing that I hate about this argument is that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men up here, and we're all violent. All of us, based on our history. So you're not talking about you, Kwesi. You don't get to include yourself in that. You are one of the violent men that I'm talking about. So I'm always perplexed as, why do the men who are actually violent talk about that there's not all men are violent? Like, but you're violent, I'm violent. Every man you know is every boy you know done been in a fight, 5, 10, 7 fights. How are we not violent? Where all these non-violent men at? Where all these Zen-like men at? Where are they at? I'm trying to find them.
So when I say the word violent, I mean like, so because when I say humanity is violent, almost every woman on planet Earth has put their hands on somebody at some point in their life. So humanity is violent. When I'm talking about violent, I mean like severely violent to the point where it's relevant. Like slapping somebody, getting in a fight. I don't really like. That's just humanity. That's how we settle differences. That's how we.
Sounds like it sounds like you cherry picking it. You trying to downplay it. I don't. I think fighting is very violent. I have.
I mean, innately violent. Yeah,
I have innately. People, brother. If you've been in enough fights, anybody up here, if you ever I've never been knocked out personally, but I've knocked people out before, and I can tell you without a doubt that stuff hurts. Like I believe it. When they head hit the ground, I was like, oh shit! Like anything can happen when you get in a fight, brother. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's extreme.
No, yeah, it is very violent. I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to get at. But what I'm saying by violence is, I'm speaking of violence in a different ball game. But I get what you're saying, because anything could happen in a fight. It can't turn into, you can lose your life in a fight.
Exactly. So fights are outside of unaliving somebody or pew-pewing somebody or anything like that. Fighting is the next most violent thing you can do. And we've all done it. We've all done it. That's what I'm saying. That's why I find this conversation very funny and very disingenuous, that the very men who are violent, who have a history of violence and a propensity for violence, are trying to make this point that most men are violent. Based on what logic? Most men actually are violent.
But I feel like you would have to take. I kind of feel like you would have to take into account why you were why you were almost all of my fights. I would let me not say that. I can't. I would say most of my fights I was defending myself. I was not looking for. I was not looking for.
I've ever started a fight in my life. Personally.
Ever. So,
no, that's a lie. My wife. I felt my wife getting ready to text me right now. It wasn't a real fight. We got broken up, but I have started a couple. I was drunk. When I was drunk, I was doing stuff. I hit a dude in the face with a towel. He wanted to fight me. And I ended up, whatever. We ended up not fighting or whatever. And then another time, I slapped the dude in an elevator because he complimented my wife. And then whatever. But that was it. But that's it, though. But the majority of the time, it was alcohol involved. And I'm definitely going to give myself a pass. I don't care what y'all say. Kiss my ass. But
see what I'm saying? And that's what I mean by.
But I was sober. That's what I mean. In my sober mind, I've never started a fight. That's all I'm saying. I've never started a fight.
And that's exactly what I wanted to get at when you said you gave yourself a pass for that. That's exactly what I meant by violence that's passable, because my most recent fight, which was like a couple weeks ago, my sister called me. Not my blood sister, but I called her my sister. She called me and said, literally called me crying.
You are actively still a violent person.
No, but listen, she called me. She called me crying.
Years ago.
She literally called me crying and said, I can hear her boyfriend in the background screaming. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Yeah. This man just put his hands on me. He won't leave my house. And I'm literally, as soon as I hear that, I kind of figure what was going on. So I'm already on my way to my car, because I already don't like it.
You ain't gotta make no excuse for you going to defend your sister. I'm just telling you.
Not at all.
I'm just saying that's violence.
Right.
It is violence, but like the same way you said you can get a pass for whatever violence you were speaking of, I feel like there's violence that's honorable. There's honorable violence.
I was joking, but violence is violence, brother. That's my point. Violence is violence. Yeah. And men are by far the most violent. It's not close. Because if you called your homegirl, if a girl would have came, she would have came. She definitely would have came and showed up, but she would have called the police. She would have just been there. You know what I'm saying? She'd have, no, you ain't about to hit her. You know what I mean? There's other ways to diffuse the situation rather than going over there and laying your hands on that man. But you're violent, so you went over there and laid your hands on that man. That's what I'm saying.
I ain't mad at that.
And I ain't mad at you. I ain't even judging you for it. I'm just calling a spade though.
Right.
I'm just not getting around calling it what it is. It was violence. You went over there and met it with violence. That's all it is.
No, yeah, I'm not even gonna disagree. Like I said, I'm gonna take right on the chin that it is violent. And that's what I can't really explain what I'm trying to say by there's levels to violence, as far as like put it like this. Almost every female has been in a fight in her life.
That's not
once
true.
or twice. Almost, not every single female.
Not true at all. I would almost guarantee you that the majority of women haven't been in a fight.
It's certainly not to the same number as men.
No, I don't think most women have been in one fight. One fight of any kind. I would guarantee you that most women haven't been in one fight.
Where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Long Beach.
Long Beach, New Jersey?
California, bro. Is there a Long Beach, New Jersey?
There's a Long. No, I
just
live in
learned that right
Pennsylvania,
now.
but I came from New Jersey. There's a Long Beach, New Jersey.
Oh.
I just learned that.
Long Beach is on the map. Like, what are we talking about? The Long Beach I know is long. Like, I thought we could just say that, but LA, let's call it LA. Cool.
Yeah, nah, because Long Beach, New Jersey is all I know because I grew up in New Jersey. So when you said that, I instantly thought of New Jersey. But
you don't know who Snoop is?
But no. One more time?
You don't know who Snoop is?
Yeah, I don't know anything about where rappers are from, though. I'm not going to lie.
Really? Not even Snoop?
Not even Snoop? The most
No,
famous rapper in all of the world, Snoop is the most famous rapper. You don't know that Snoop is from Long Beach? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no.
we got some other people, brother. I got to get to motivational and low key.